What's going on, guys? It's NYPrepper here. In this video, I want to do another prepper library video, and this is a book that every prepper should have, and this is called The High Security Shelter by Joel Skousen. Now, some of you guys may know who Joel Skousen is. He used to be a contributor for Alex Jones back in the day. He's an absolute genius, very smart guy, and he wrote the very famous book called Strategic Relocation, North America's Guide to Safe Places. And this is basically like the prepper's Bible for bug out locations. And I've done a review of this book before, and this book just goes into detail of the best areas in every state to bug out and to build a survival retreat for SHTF and the end times. And he ranks every state, and this is basically one of the basic prepper books that every prepper should have. But he also made this little book here called The High Security Shelter, and it's a very thin book, but I highly recommend you get this. Every prepper should have this book, okay? Every real prepper that's serious about prepping needs this book. And I just got motivated to do a video review of this book because of everything going on with Ukraine. And, I was thinking about, fallout shelters and stuff like that. And so this book is basically about how you can build a bunker inside of your house, okay? And Joel Skousen does a really good job, as always. He's very detail-oriented. He talks about how you can build a safe room in your house and how you can do it on the cheap, and it's basically for do-it-yourselfers, okay? And it doesn't cost a lot of money. He talks about different materials that you should use. He actually even includes detailed plans. Okay, here's the back of the book. Here's an example of one of his safe rooms that he recommends you make out of cinder blocks and rebar to reinforce with a steel door. And he has like detailed plans in here. So if you want to build like a safe room or a fallout shelter in your basement or in your house, he has everything you need in this book right here. He has actual detailed architectural plans that you can use. And so you can do everything with this book. He tells you exactly. Here you have how to get plumbing into your shelter. He talks about different ways you could run water into your shelter, into your high security shelter, your safe room, your fallout shelter. He talks about gray water plumbing if you want to put a sink in there. It gets really, really complicated. He's got grounding plates for EMP protection. He talks about that. So this way you could hook up your ham radio and computers and other stuff, and you can protect them from EMP and surges and stuff like that. And, it's just a really, really good book. And he goes into real great detail here on how to build yourself basically a bunker inside of your house. Okay. And I think this is something that a lot of preppers wish they had, like an Atlas survival shelter. But the problem with an Atlas survival shelter is that they're so expensive and they're not even that great. They're more of like a gimmick, and they're more for the super rich. Get yourself this book and commit yourself to building a shelter in your basement, okay? I'm going to do this. I'm going to build one of these rooms, and when I do, I'm going to film it for you guys and show you guys how it's done. Obviously, without giving away any security for OPSEC reasons, I'm not going to be able to give everything away, but I'm actually going to build one of these in the near future. Right now I'm renting, but once I buy something, I buy a house, I'm going to build one of these in my basement, and I'm going to show you guys how I did it. And I'm going to videotape everything so you can see how much work is involved and stuff like that. But here we have more plans. It's just really, really good. And especially now with everything going on with Ukraine, people are thinking about fallout shelters and surviving nuclear war. And this is the perfect book for that. Now, keep in mind, it would take you some time to build a shelter like this. This is not something that you're going to build in 1 week or 1 month. This is a long-term project that's going to take you maybe half a year to a year. You know, you're going to do this a little bit at a time, maybe on the weekends, all right? But he talks about how to make this thing basically turn this safe room into a fallout shelter, protection against marauders after SHTF, protection against fires. I mean, it's like a multi-purpose safe room, okay? And he talks about how to build it so it's very strong. He has detailed sketches here of how to lay the rebar so it's very, very strong, so somebody can't just take a hammer and break it apart. Like, let's say your house gets surrounded by marauders and you run into this safe room. You don't want those marauders to just take a hammer and break apart your shelter in 5 minutes. So, you know, he goes into great detail of how to make this thing basically bomb-proof. He talks about having emergency escape tunnels outside of your basement connected to your safe room, okay? And he goes into great details of how to do it. And, you know, he's a really, really, really good author. And he even talks about radiation and how the shelter can block radiation here, okay? Radiation effects and remedies. He talks about preparing for radiation. There will be no official warning before a nuclear attack and probably no domestic news coverage for a long time after due to EMP effects. So he talks about everything here. He talks about dosimeters, what you need. But basically this book is about how you can build a safe room in your house, okay, in your basement. And the safe room is multifunctional. It's a safe room that'll protect you from fallout. It has an emergency escape tunnel so you can escape out if, let's say, your house gets surrounded by marauders and you have to flee. You know, if you're inside of your safe room and there's only one way out of your safe room and the marauders are surrounding you, they're just going to wait for you to come out of the safe room. You know, they're just going to sit outside the door. But if you have an emergency escape tunnel, you know, you can escape out of the underground, you know. But this book is just really, really good. Highly recommend it. He also designs this thing for fire protection. So this way, if you have all your preps inside your house or in your bug out location, let's say, God forbid, your bug out location catches fire or something happens, you know, you don't want to lose all your preps, you know, and so you can also use this shelter for storing your preps and storing weapons and ammunition. And he designs it so it has like a very high security steel door. So definitely get this book, guys. Really, really good book. I highly recommend it. And there's some other books that he has in his series. He also has The Secure Home, Architectural Design, Construction, and Remodeling of Self-Sufficient Residences and High Security Retreats, okay? This is another basic prepper manual, okay? In this book, he talks about how to build a house so that it's very strong and secure, okay? Especially for SHTF purposes. But these 3 books here, The Secure Home, The High Security Shelter, and Strategic Relocation. These are like the 3, I would say, elementary books that every prepper should have. And they're all written by Joel Skousen. Highly recommend this book. It's not expensive. It's very thin, and it's very good. So I'll do a review of The Secure Home next. I haven't really read this one that much, so I can't really talk about it. But I read through this one. This one's really good, okay? So thank you guys for watching, and take care. God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.